Well, pigs get hungry. You know, if he was out there, I don't know what happened to start with. If he went out and started doing something to them, I can't see that my pigs would go ahead and do something to somebody without cause.
There's a deviation in her behavior here because she's much louder and there's more emotion in her voice compared to just moments ago when she was describing how she supposedly found Robert half-eaten and shot him. It's possible that this change in tone of voice is an indication of tension, as a change in pitch is often a sign of emotional stress. It's also safe to say that Susan simply feels more strongly about her pig's well-being than she does about Robert's.
They've always been very friendly with me. They still are very friendly with me. I didn't want to say anything, and because I was afraid you were going to go out and shoot my pigs.
That's not going to happen right now, okay? And we're going to look into that, but tell me, back at the beginning, how did you know Robert was there? Did you hear noise? What happened?
I came down in the morning. I can say this was maybe, it was over a month since I had seen him last, because it was about that time when Bobby had called me to ask me what was going on, and I told him I have no idea. And
so he had been gone.
He had been gone over a month.
Okay.
He had been gone over a month. I came down to feed my animals, and I heard this moaning and stuff.
Did you hear screaming?
Not really a scream.
Just moaning.
Moaning more, yeah. And his guts were out, but he was still alive.
Again, she covers her mouth as she says he was still alive, possibly signifying that she's not telling the truth about this. Touching one's face is also a self-soothing technique.
And how did you know he was alive?
I could see his arm moving.
And was he still moaning?
Yeah, he was moaning a little bit.
So what did you do then?
I yelled at the pigs, and they were doing their thing. They're just, having lunch or breakfast. They were having breakfast on him. And I could see that, there was no way he was going to get to the hospital and live. I didn't think he was going to live more than a few more minutes.
Did he say anything to you?
No, he didn't say anything. He was just moaning.
So,
but
you went back into your house?
I went up and got my rifle and shot him in the head.
How many times?
I don't know.
More than once?
I don't know.
The not remembering is very unusual. When someone has a selective memory, this can sometimes be a deceptive indicator. However, it's difficult to prove that someone is lying when they say they don't remember. It seems as though Susan doesn't want to admit how many times she shot Robert. If she admits that she shot him multiple times, she may be concerned that will make her look more guilty.
I have no idea.
So you're sure you did it once?
Yes.
But you're not sure if you did it more than once?
I don't know if I did it more times. I don't know.
So after you shot him, then what happened?
After I shot him.
Did he die immediately?
Yes.
And then what'd you do?
I went and fed my other animals, and I just left him there.
And so, as far as you know, he was never moved from that big place. What reason do you think that
I have no idea why he would go in the pig pen. I have none at all.
Susan begins answering the detective's question before he even finishes asking it, which is something to take note of. When suspects take either too long to answer a simple question or interrupt to answer a question, it could be because they're not being honest. Answering too quickly shows an overeagerness to tell their side and defend themselves, while a long pause shows the person is carefully considering the answer they want to give or concocting a lie on the spot.
Were you angry at him when he came back?
I didn't see him come back. I was angry at him and angry at him and my pigs for what happened.
The pen area that you're talking about, is that going to be right by the...
South of the barn.
South of the barn.
South of the barn.
Pretty close to the barn? How close do you think it was to the barn?
Where his body was? 40 feet.
And so what happened, after you fed the rest of your animals and then checked to see, obviously the pigs are going to do what they're going to do. You can't stop them.
Right.
So if they're going to come back to them, if you originally maybe you were trying to shoo them off, but obviously leaving him there, they're going to eat him,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Susan covers her face, displaying that she either is ashamed of what she did or feels overly stressed. Hiding her face psychologically removes her a little from the situation and the direct glare of the interrogator.
So, did you check back to see?
A couple days later. Well, no, I mean every day. And
Did you ever move any part of him out of the pen? I mean, there's got to be some parts that aren't eaten, like you said, they don't eat clothes, right?
A few days later, when most of him was gone, I went in there and I picked up the clothes. I picked up the few parts that were left.
And what was left?
There was the skull and an arm, and I'm not sure. I know there was the skull. If you go back out to my barn, and when you go, let me draw you a little picture. What's left of him is in a couple of plastic bags right there.
Okay.
Susan appears to be at least somewhat bothered by picking up Robert's remains. The fact that she left his body there for 2 days could suggest that she wanted the pigs to destroy the evidence.
Where did you shoot him at?
I shot him in the head. I did not look to see where I was shooting him. I just took the rifle and shot.
Was he laying on his back, his side?
On his back.
So most likely anything would have been like...
I don't know. I didn't look. I saw him that his guts laying on his back. I knew there was no way for him to be alive more than a couple more minutes. I went up to the house and I got my rifle. I just went like this. I just turned my head and I shot. And then I didn't see any more I didn't see his heart move or any more moaning, and I left.
Did you ever think it was possible that maybe if you got an ambulance there, they might be able to do something for him?
No. I didn't think he was going to. There was no way. I mean, an ambulance takes half an hour to get to him. There was no way he was going to live more than another couple minutes. And I did pretty much the way I do everything else. I did not like to see an animal suffer. I did not like to see him suffering.
Comparing Robert to one of her pigs suggests that she has difficulty understanding social norms, as it's not socially appropriate to compare ending a human's life to ending a pig's life.
The bag that has the skull and the other few remaining parts in it, did you ever try to destroy those at all, or did you just put them in the bag?
No, I couldn't think about anything. The burn barrel's right there.
Okay. And the clothes are still in there?
They're burned up.
Right. Was there anything else that you might have put in there that burned up? Like maybe a wallet might have been in there, you don't know?
I don't know. I didn't go through his stuff.
Are the ashes still in there, or did you?
Yes. No. No. I haven't emptied the burn barrel. It's half full of ashes.
Were you worried using his card though, after you knew that he was dead, that you would get caught?
No. I didn't really think about it.
Susan, I'm a little concerned on this, and I appreciate you being honest about what you've told us. If there's a piece here missing, it seems to me. That
Okay.
here's a person that never goes into that pig pen.
I don't know.
Never feeds those pigs.
I don't know.
And then he ends up in there mysteriously.
I don't know if he ever, like I say,
Did he come after you and threaten you? And something happened, Susan?
No, he never came after me or threatened me for
Did
any
he do
reason.
something to you or
No.
your place that
No,
caused you to do something to him?
no, he never did anything to me. The only thing he ever did to me was make a big mess.
Right.
And I'm not shooting somebody because I made a mess.
Because you got to see through my eyes that this story seems convenient.
I have no
Rather
idea.
than-
I have no idea. I have no idea how he got in there or why he would go in there. I don't know.
Did you ever hear her make threats toward Robert? Like, I'd like to kill that guy, or I'm gonna do this with him, or that?
Yeah, I heard her say, I will shut him up. And I don't know if that's a threat, but she shut him up, I guess.
So he never threatened you, never came up in a
No.
drunken rage, come back
No.
to your house mad about somebody stealing his stuff or doing anything of that
No.
nature.
No.
The detective is presenting Susan with possible justifications for her killing him.
Because
Very.
you have the right to defend yourself, you know that. If something happened to you...
No. If he had come up to my house and threatened me and I had shot him, I would have called you immediately. I would have called you immediately.
Are you frightened of the pigs?
No, I'm not frightened at all. I've never been frightened of them. I had a 940-pound pig, and he would kill me in a minute if he wanted to. But he was very gentle. When he was about 400 pounds or something, I walked by him, and I was scratching the back of his neck. And he hit me with his head and put a cut in my leg right here. That's the only time any of my animals have ever hurt me at all. And he was not being mean. He was not being mean at all to me. He just twitched his head and he went 3 times or twice, but I did it. He just put a little cut in my leg and knocked me down. Our pigs are not mean.
Although covering one's mouth can be an indicator of deception, it's possible that this is not the case for Susan. This may be a typical behavior for her when she's feeling emotional. It's possible that she wants to appear strong, and she may feel that showing emotion is weak. By covering her mouth when she's upset, she may be trying to create a barrier between her and the detectives as a way to hide her feelings from them. The fact that she's covering her mouth while she tells the story about her pig hurting her lends support to the theory that this is her attempt to hide her emotions, rather than to cover a lie, as it wouldn't make sense for her to be dishonest about getting cut by her pig. This is why it's important to not make any judgments about whether someone is being dishonest, simply based off of one deceptive indicator. You need to look at the whole picture, not just one small piece of the puzzle.
And I do not know why. I do not know why he was out there. I do not know if he had been out there previous to that time. And I have no idea what happened to make them do that to him.
Susan, would you be willing to take a lie detector test?
Yes.
Susan immediately agrees to take a polygraph exam. She may believe she can pass it, as she clearly believes she's smarter than the officers.
No problems at
No
all?
problem.
And obviously the issue would be, did you shoot him after the pigs attacked him, or did you shoot him first and then take
I
him?
shot him after the pigs. He was laying on the ground with his
Right.
guts out.
Okay, I'm just asking if you'd be willing to take the test.
He was laying, yes.
Interestingly, Brady reports that Susan has a hard time killing the pigs, contrary to her statement earlier when she made jokes about butchering them.
But she loves pigs. She has a hard time butchering them, actually.
She what?
she actually had a hard time butchering them.
Butchering them, okay.
She does.
So you mentioned that you heard her say kidding around and feed people to the pigs and all that stuff. Has she ever talked about doing that?
No.
It's possible that Susan uses humor as a coping mechanism when she's feeling uncomfortable or stressed. Making light about something she actually finds emotionally difficult may be her way of proving to other people that she isn't weak.
And like Detective Fox is talking about, it does really sound like it's more of a story of convenience, of something that, you know, it's explainable, but it doesn't really make that much sense. We understand that you are saying that you shot him, okay?
I still don't know if you actually found a leg or anything, but if you did find
we did.
If you found a leg,
Shall I go get a photo of it?
yeah.
As far as like the skeletal structure of a person,
When that looks like a leg.
it is.
Okay. If it's in the grass, then it had I don't know. In the
Susan appears distressed about seeing the photo of the leg. Flipping it over was her way of reducing her stress. Out of sight, out of mind. This avoidance behavior is similar to her story about how she didn't go check the pig pen for a couple days after Robert was killed. Instead of coping with something difficult, someone with anxiety may choose to avoid certain things or situations.
I could not look at him.
So
All I heard was
said
a
that-
little bit of moaning, and one arm was moving a little bit.
And you also just mentioned that you don't like it when if you had a pig out here in the barn, you wouldn't be able to shoot them humanely,
Yes.
right? So
Yes.
it was important to have a good shot on a pig so that it doesn't suffer.
Yes, but
So when you-
Robert, I mean, there's a human being laying
I
there.
understand that. I
And-
understand that you didn't look from what you're saying, but did you at least place the end of the muzzle close to somewhere where you thought that would be a humane shot?
I was probably maybe a foot and a half from his head.
The end of the barrel?
Yes.
Okay. And was there a reason for that?
Well, I couldn't look at him and take aim or anything. He was laying there. I was standing here, and I went like that, and I pulled the trigger.
But you made sure that the barrel was pointed at his head.
Yes.
Is it possible that we might find someone else out there or remains from another person on your property somewhere? Is that possible?
Anything is possible. I don't know how you found that leg where it was.
Okay.
What if that leg's not Robert's?
If it's not, I don't know who it would be.
You're not very, and I don't know if Detective Fox is getting the same thing from you, but you're not when you. It seems like before where you kind of wanted to say something, but you didn't. You held it out, and then and it's like you want to say it, and this is like Detective Fox said. This is your opportunity to do that.
Susan, who else is out there?
Instead of asking again if anyone else is out there, which is a close-ended question that could be answered with a simple yes or no, the detective switches tactics and asks directly, who else is out there? This is known as a presumptive question because the asker is assuming that something is true, in this case, that there is another body. This question may catch Susan off guard. If she was being honest when she initially denied that any other bodies are there, she likely wouldn't have to think about her response. It would be something easy, like no one else is out there. However, if she knows that there is another body, she may pause to think about her response.
To my knowledge, no one. And if that leg is not Robert's, I would very much like to know it myself.
Her reply is especially suspicious, as most people would be able to definitely answer whether or not a dead body was on their property, even if it is a large area. Using this qualifying statement such as "to my knowledge" is a major red flag.
Of course.
You know, I'd very much like to know it myself if it's not his, and how it got from the pig pen to wherever over there in the grass you found it. I have no idea.
Right. And sometimes bad things happen to good people, misfortune. I mean, who would have thought that Robert would have ended up in the pigs, right?
Yes.
So did something else bad happen to you?
The only thing, and I will admit, I have thought about it quite a bit, maybe too much, is that Karen. I mean, I have thought about killing her 100 times.
Okay, well, we're not
That's
talking
the
about
neighbor,
Karen.
right?
Yes.
I understand that. We're not talking about Karen.
Okay, well,
Right.
that's
Right.
the only.
And you're pretty sensitive about your hair falling out over
Yes.
that incident, aren't you?
Yes, I lost my hair within 2 months.
I mean, that's devastating,
Yes.
especially for you, isn't it?
Yes. It's very hard for me to sit here right now.
Yes. And even
You know,
talk about it, isn't it?
Yes, I mean, just wearing this, like I say, I never leave my property, and I would not have today without putting my wig on.
And your story about shooting Robert, I know that's true, that you shot him when he was in the pig pen.
Yes.
And I know that's true. But where else did you shoot him? People don't always die from the first shot on a .22. Where else was he shot at?
I have no idea.
Was he standing up on the first shot?
No. No, he was laying down on the ground.
Mhm. Well, we have the skull, right?
Yes.
We're going to take a look at that skull.
Yes.
And you know how forensics are. I'm
Yes.
sure you watch that kind of stuff and you understand.
One of the things I got on the
And we can take a look at
the
that.
what do you call it?
Right. And we can take a look at those angles. You know how you put the rods and the lasers
Yes.
and you can figure
Yes.
that all out. And we can tell if they all those shots came from the same area.
Yes.
And we can also tell if it happened somewhere else.
Yes.
You were shooting at the head.
Yes.
Is there some other way that something we're going to see that doesn't make sense
like,
to your story?
Like I said, I might have shot him 6 times. I really
Right.
don't know.
But are we going to have an angle that doesn't match your story?
I have no idea. I have no idea. He was on the ground.
Right, I know
I went
that
like
part's
that,
true.
and
I know that's true. I can sense that. I can
Okay.
tell that. But I can also sense that there's something missing. There's some part that something happened between you two before that happened.
No.
Something happened.
No.
Do you feel responsible? Did you ask him to go out and feed the pigs?
No.
And so now you're feeling guilty
No.
about that?
No. I do not.
Did you request him to clean up something in
No.
the pig stand and
No.
now you feel guilty?
No. I feel guilty in the fact that he was lying there and I shot him.
Mm-hmm.
I feel guilty for, the fact that my pigs ended up eating most of him. I do not feel guilty for I do not feel guilty for causing his death.
At Swiss Chalet, now there's even more to love. Beef is back. Slow. just one.